Honorable Chief Guest, His Lordship Justice Bhushan Gavai Sir. Born on 24th November 1960 in Amravati, His Lordship is a judge at Supreme Court of India. His Lordship joined the bar on 16th March 1985 and has worked with late barrister Raja Bhosle, former Advocate General and Judge of High Court till 1987, and then practiced independently in the Bombay High Court between 1987 to 1990. After 1990, His Lordship practiced in constitutional law and administrative law, mainly before the Nagpur bench of Bombay High Court. His Lordship was a standing counsel for Municipal Corporation of Nagpur, Amravati Municipal Corporation, Amravati University, and various corporations in the Vidarbha region. His Lordship was appointed as the Assistant Government Pleader and Additional Public Prosecutor in the High Court of Judicature at Bombay, Nagpur bench, between August 1992 to July 1993. His Lordship was elevated as the Judge of the High Court on 14th November 2003 and became a permanent Judge of Bombay High Court on 12th November 2005. His Lordship has presided over benches having all types of assignments at the principal seat at Mumbai as well as at Nagpur, Aurangabad and Panaji. His Lordship is elevated as the Judge of the Supreme Court of India on 24th May 2019 and is set to become the 52nd Chief Justice of India if the seniority convention is followed. His Lordship is due to retire on 23rd November 2025. I request our esteemed Chief Guest, Justice Bhushan Gavai Sir, to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Dr. Qazi, the Honorable President of Anjuman Islam, my elder brother, Mr. A.R.Antulay, the Vice President, the distinguished members of the Management Committee on the dais, Dr. Falaknath Sheikh, the Principal of the College, Dr. Ende, Advocate Hiten Venegavkar, the Government Pleader of the Bombay High Court, the learned faculty members, the proud parents, and my dear students. It gives me a great pleasure to be here with you all today on the occasion of the 4th annual convocation ceremony of Anjuman Islam's Barrister A.R.Antulay College of Law. Anjuman Islam, a highly reputed educational institution, was established by none other than Dr. Badruddin Tayyib in the year 1874. This year, it is completing its 150 years of illustrious journey. Starting with one school, today, it runs more than 90 institutions, ranging from pre-primary schools to the graduate and postgraduate level, including the Barrister A.R.Antulay College of Law. Badruddin Tayyib, after studying law at London, on his return to Bombay, became the first Indian to practice as a barrister in the Bombay High Court in the year 1867. Soon after, he entered public life. He also referred his services on the Bombay Municipal Corporation as a nominated councillor, as well as the University of Bombay as a Senate member for a long period of 30 years. He was also appointed to the Bombay Legislative Council in 1882. Along with Firoz Shah Mehta and Kashinath Telang, he formed the Bombay Presidency Association in 1885. The three of them were fondly known as the Three Stars of the city. Badruddin Tayyib and his elder brother Kamruddin Tayyib were also deeply involved in founding of the Indian National Congress. Mr. Tayyib had the distinction of being unanimously elected as the President of the Indian National Congress in its third session at Madras in the year 1887. In 1985, Taibji earned the distinction of becoming the first Muslim and the third Indian to become the judge of the Bombay High Court. In 1902, he became the first Indian occupying the office of the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court. He was known as a great judge, and for his courage and impartiality shown by him by granting bail to Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak in a sensational case after it had been rejected thrice by others. He also admonished the eminent British Council for denigrating the Indian National Congress and the Indian character. I am really happy to know that the great work started by Badruddin Taibji is being carried forward by the society. I am also happy to address the students of the Law College, which is named after Barrister A.R.Antulay. I have a special reason for the same, inasmuch as Barrister Antulay was a very close friend of my father, late Shri R.S. Gavai. Both of them have worked together in the political and social fields and contributed a lot to elevate the hardships of downtrodden. Coming from a small village in Ambait, he studied law at Bombay University and thereafter earned the qualification of barrister at law at Lincoln's Inn, London. He entered the social life at a very early age. He occupied various offices as member of the Legislative Assembly, the member of Lok Sabha, the member of Rajya Sabha. He had the distinction of being a union minister as well as the chief minister of Maharashtra. It will not be out of place to say that he was considered as one of the most dynamic chief ministers of the Maharashtra. So therefore, when Mr. Tungekar called me to say that I have to come and address the students of Dr. A.R.Antulay, Barrister A.R.Antulay College of Law, I had the special reason because the family associations go a long way. I have seen Barrister Antulay since I was a kid. We had family relations, we had family vacations together, and therefore it was really a matter of great privilege for me when Mr. Tungekar asked me to come, and though I had some other schedules, but I told him that I will come here for a day, and I am really happy to be with you all this morning. It will be really significant to note that after the demise of Barrister A.R.Antulay, a criminal lawyer, J.P. Mishra, who had represented Mr. Ramdas Nayak in the cases that Ramdas Nayak had filed against Barrister Antulay, he paid rich tributes to Barrister Antulay. He acknowledged Barrister Antulay as an administrator par excellence, whose heart always beat for the poor and downtrodden. He said that Antulay was truly a great human being and that he was always amiable and soft-spoken, never harboring animosity or ill will against anybody. We are really lucky to have studied in the college named after such a great person. I am really happy to note the contribution of Dr. Qazi. I did not have an occasion to meet him earlier. Today I met him for the first time. But the strides which the Anjuman Islam has taken during his tenure really deserves applause from all of us, and I congratulate him for his noteworthy contribution as well as for the rare distinction conferred on him of the Padma Shri awarded to him for his contribution in social, literary and educational field. I was really amazed when I heard him that the institution caters to the last downtrodden citizens of this country. When he narrated the incidents of those who represented country and coming from such a humble background, really it was heart-touching that this institution produces the eminent persons from the lowest strata of the society, provides them education and enables them to join the mainstream of the society. I think that the contribution of Anjuman Islam in that regard must be a very rare one, and I congratulate Dr. Qazi and all his associates for such an admirable contribution. Students, today is a momentous day for all of you. So let us begin by congratulating the graduating students for completing the demanding journey. This achievement is a culmination of your aspirations, ambition, determination, and hard work. I wish you all the success in your future endeavors. I am confident that you will bring glory to yourself as well as your alma mater, wherever and in whatever field you choose to pursue your career. To many of you, including your parents and teachers, it may seem like it was only yesterday that you stepped into the halls of this wonderful institution. And today you stand on the threshold of becoming part of an immensely challenging, intellectually stimulating, and incredibly satisfying profession. Part of a fraternity that counted amongst its members luminaries like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, C. Rajgopalachari, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. B.R.Ambedkar, and of course, the first Prime Minister of Pakistan, Barrister Jinnah, and many others whose immense sacrifice and dedication to the cause of freedom immortalized them in the history of this nation. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the architect of the Indian Constitution, considered law as an instrument of social change. The operative word here is instrument. An instrument is wielded to reach a specific goal, to fulfill an aspiration. Law is an instrument to attain in our democratic setup the constitutional aspiration of justice. The Constitution of India outlines a glorious vision of justice. It understands justice as something bigger than merely judicial or legal justice. It aspires for the just social order where justice permeates all levels of human relations and interactions. It is this grand vision that is articulated in the preamble, political, social, and economic justice. And Article 38(1) that directs the state to strive to secure and protect a social order in which justice, social, economic, and political shall inform all the institutions of national life. The Constitution identifies justice as the supreme value to usher in an egalitarian social order founded on the principles of liberty, equality, dignity, and fraternity. However, one has to ask what is meant by justice. As a concept, it is easily recognizable and intuitively understood, but extremely difficult to describe. But unless we understand what justice is, how would we be able to work towards achieving a just society? This understanding is important because, as Dr. Ambedkar had once observed during the Constituent Assembly debates, continuing injustice in political, social, and economic sphere are the greatest threat to the very survival of the Constitution. In his work, The Theory of Justice, John Rawls argues that a society which protects the rights and liberties of people and provides all the economic and social advantages to the greatest benefit of the least advantaged sections in the society could be considered as just. The answer, therefore, I believe, lies in the notion of social justice, which requires a concerted effort to address and remove social and economic inequalities. In Consumer Education and Research Center versus Union of India, the Supreme Court observed, and I quote, "Justice is a genus of which social justice is one of its species. Social justice is a dynamic device to mitigate the sufferings of the poor, weak, Dalits, tribals, and deprived sections of the society, and to elevate them to the level of equality to live a life with dignity of a person. Social justice is not a simple or single idea of society, but is an essential part of complex of social change to relieve the poor from hardships to make their life livable. For greater good of the society at large, in other words, the aim of social justice is to attain substantial degree of social, economic, and political equality. These observations are of immense relevance. They are a reminder to us that legal knowledge is empowering, and as a knowledge holders, it is our bounden duty to utilize it to empower, enlighten, and inform the underprivileged. Law is the most important instrument for securing the overall development and transformation of society. Therefore, one who is empowered with legal knowledge must reflect not only upon the role of the law plays, but the role they can play in the social enrichment and transformation. Justice Benjamin Cardozo once observed, the final cause of law is the welfare of the society. As members of the legal profession, you will be called upon to secure and promote the administration of justice. You must ensure that the doors of justice always remain open for the aggrieved, downtrodden, indigent, exploited, vulnerable, and marginalized sections of the society. You become the crucial interface between those seeking justice and the justice dispensation system. And it is your responsibility to persevere till they receive complete justice. Late Justice Chagla once remarked, the legal profession is a great calling and it is a learned and noble profession. Remember always that it is a profession, it is not a trade or a business. The distinction between the two is deep and fundamental. In business, your sole object is to make money. In the legal profession, making money is merely incidental. You have traditions to which you have to be true. Like an artist, there has to be a passionate desire to attain perfection. Service to society and your fellow men has to be the dominant motive underlying your work. I commend you to remember and act upon the words of the great Justice Chagla. You all are extremely fortunate to obtain your legal education from a premier law college in the country. The vital significance of quality legal education cannot be overemphasized. These new age law schools, as I like to call them, introduce a paradigm shift in the field of legal education by engaging highly trained quality faculty, encouraging vibrant curriculum, and in the process attracting top academic performers both nationally and globally. This coming together had both micro and macro ramifications. On a micro level, this facilitated a shift away from emphasis on rote learning to a participatory pedagogy, in turn enabling capacity for critical thinking and meticulous research among the students. On a macro level, it enhanced inclusiveness of legal education through engagement of diverse sections of the community in demanding spaces and positions traditionally occupied by the elite and well-connected. Yet, traces of exclusionary environment persist. It is important to recall that Dr. Ambedkar devoted his whole life to eradication of exclusionary tendencies from all aspects of society. To him, inclusiveness must pervade all aspects of human life, including legal education. It is therefore important that law schools accommodate socio-economic diversities. In this regard, a 2010 report of the American Bar Association Commission on Diversity, titled Diversity in Legal Profession, the Next Steps, is instructive. It argued that the coming together of students from diverse social backgrounds generates the potential for learning both inside and outside the classroom. Diversity encourages more informed engagement with theories, doctrines, and case laws, and such engagement in turn contributes to dissolving the traditional social boundaries, which in case India would be caste, religion, class, and regionalism. This combination would enable a more enriching learning experience. I'm happy to note, as Dr. Kazi has referred, that you have a diversity in your institution, not only in faculty, but also among the students. The true secular character of this institution really is an inspiring model. A more diverse class enhances the experience of legal education for students, not least because so much of legal history is wound up in the experiences of vulnerable and marginalized groups confronting unjust laws. Many specific legal issues, such as important constitutional, environmental, or rights debates, necessarily reflect a society's values and historical judicial temperament responding to public interest. If the student body lacks diversity of views on these issues, effective reflections, critical perspectives, and meaningful discussions may be lost. It is this vision that a law school must aspire for. A law school is not about infrastructure, facilities, or even a great faculty. All these are important factors, no doubt, but for a law school to truly serve its purpose in a society, it must provide an ecosystem enabling intense learning through interaction between diverse faculty and students, which goes beyond the traditional teaching of substantive and procedural laws, to inculcating social and moral responsibilities of an individual as a member of the society and as a member of the legal profession. It is the duty of the law schools to instill in its students a consciousness and ability to look beyond the technical to the human. For law as a social profession is not simply a means of livelihood, it is a way of living. Only a consistent and diligent focus on the part of law schools would create legal professionals who not only are technically competent but also socially aware and ethically sensitized. Law schools must attempt to produce social engineers with myriad competencies. Its curriculum must be so designed that it is able to accentuate technical competencies with other key competencies that would transform a law student into a knowledge worker. A 2016 report by the Harvard Law School Center on the Legal Profession titled Lawyers as Professionals and as Citizens, Key Roles and Responsibilities in the 21st Century outlined 5 competencies, namely ethical competency, a business sense, technological literacy, decision-making ability, and capacity for teamwork as critical competencies for preparing a complete lawyer. These ideas, though outlined in the context of the United States, given the technology-fueled education advancements and interconnectedness we are witnessing in today's globalized world, are equally apt in the context of legal professionals in India. I am confident that the last 3 years of grueling education has invested in all of you adequate competencies and skills. So where do you go next? I am given to understand that many of you are joining or already have joined law firms. Bar, some of you are preparing for judicial services, Indian administrative services, and many of you are keen on higher studies. For talented and hardworking individuals such as yourselves, success is but a natural outcome. But as you commence the next chapter of your life, you must remember that as intense as the last 3 years may have been, they represent only a chapter in your educational journey. Education is a lifelong journey, especially for a legal professional. Even though I spent about 40 years in the legal profession, of which more than 20 years on the bench, I still consider me to be a student of law. At this juncture, I must point out that education needs to be distinguished from mere literacy and information acquisition. Education is a wider concept, for it involves not only acquisition of knowledge, but also skills to put your knowledge to good use. So what matters is not only what you gain intellectually, but how you utilize what you have gained for the benefit of those around you. The ultimate purpose of education is thus not simply acquisition of livelihood. Instead, it is for the complete realization of self through service of others. For Dr. Ambedkar, education and the knowledge gained from it was foundation of one's life, and he advised students to develop their thinking power, maintain their intellectual stamina, and challenge their abilities. He once observed, and I quote, "Coming as I do from the lowest order of the Hindu society, I know what is the value of the education. The problem of raising the lower order deemed to be economic. This is a great mistake. The problem of raising the lower order in India is not to feed them, to clothe them, and to make them serve the higher classes. The problem of the lower order is to remove from them that inferiority complex which has stunned their growth and made them slaves to others. To create in them the consciousness of the significance of their lives for themselves and for the country. Nothing can achieve this purpose except the spread of higher education. This is, in my opinion, the panacea of our social trouble." Unquote. For him, legal education and knowledge provided the stimulus for deepening democratic values of tolerance, of diversity, and the willingness to resolve disagreements through constructive and informed dialogue. In turn, only such willingness enables articulation of an inclusive vision of justice that bridges the gap between legality and reality. As students, I am sure you would have heard enough advices to last a lifetime. But if I have your indulgence, perhaps I can share with you one more piece of advice. I believe when you have heard them, you would agree that they are invaluable. As you progress into the professional life, you must attempt to develop an intellectual curiosity which would enable you to step outside your comfort zone and challenge yourself, and in the process grow as an individual. You must also engage in deep work. Technology has a positive effect, but it also has a deep negative impact in the form of persistent personalized distraction, which in turn robs you of the ability to perform deep work. Success is contingent on your ability to do so, which would not be possible if you forever remain distracted. Finally, these days it seems everyone is leading a very demanding life. Professionals are no exception as they continuously face enormous work pressure. Such demanding lifestyle can have grave consequences on the health of an individual. I believe we must no longer live in the hubris that only physical well-being is important. We all can agree that mental well-being is equally important. Invest timely and adequately in both your physical and mental well-being. Law schools have a crucial role to play in this regard. They must ensure that there are open conversations about mental health on campus to destigmatize the idea and make available professional help wherever necessary. One of the cherished objectives of your college is to be an asset contributory to the legal profession, community, and society at large for an all-inclusive advancement with dignity and integrity of oneself and the society. If your college has succeeded in inculcating this glorious ideal into each one of you, then you ought to constantly inquire of yourself how you can best serve the society and what role you can and will play in promoting and protecting the ideals and values enshrined in the Constitution of India. These values must not only inform and guide your work, they must enable you to internalize respect for dignity and human rights of all. The barrister A.R.Antulay College of Law has achieved much in the few years of its existence and is now counted among the top law colleges in the country. I congratulate the entire fraternity led by Dr. Zahir I. Qazi for enabling an environment conducting to academic excellence, high quality teaching and research. In the long run, it is only quality of research and publications of an institution which shape its reputation. I was really also happy to know the contribution of the faculty members of this great institution. As Dr. Qazi pointed out, that they come on time, but when they leave, there is no time. And also the contribution made by them during the COVID period, it's really remarkable. Dear students, this has been your home for the last 3 years. You have learned much, made lifelong friends, and developed into free-thinking individuals. I am happy to note that you have excelled in various fields, be it competitive examinations, mooting, etc. Some of you also had the opportunity to represent your country. You will hopefully recognize with gratitude efforts of your teachers, parents, guardians, family members, sponsors and benefactors, all of whom have contributed generously to you receiving such a fine education. Before we part, let me leave you with this sage advice from the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. I quote, "Carefully watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Manage and watch your words, for they will become your actions. Consider and judge your actions, for they have become your habits. Acknowledge and watch your habits, for they shall become your values. Understand and embrace your values, for they become your destiny."